what the administration is doing. Only 33% said because they like what the administration is doing. So if we want to just keep
question,
going,
who's more popular right now, Donald Trump or congressional Democrats?
Doesn't matter. Donald Trump happens to be the president, doesn't he?
It doesn't. He's sitting at 50-50. You're sitting at 20-80.
He's at 48-50, actually, and increasingly people. You want to call the AP and tell them they're closing?
You want to call CBS News?
Sure.
Right. We're not going to go to the mat over polls. We're not going to.
His numbers are going. His approval ratings are going down.
Where are yours?
All right, we got to leave it there.
Coming up next, in charge.
That's Republican Scott Jennings proving why he's the only one at CNN getting a raise during layoffs by calmly shutting down a smug Democrat on the network's most popular show. 5 emotional liberals scream at a conservative for an hour while the host blatantly distorts the truth for them. Welcome to Narc News. I'm Narkish, and it looks like the hacks in establishment media have really been getting high on the recent performance of Congressman and reject theater kid Cory Booker's 24-hour cringe fest in Congress, with some even dubbing him the de facto leader of the Democrat Party and hoping for a 2028 presidential run. Here's the only person worth watching on CNN gleefully raining on their parade.
Definitely think it's representative of anger in the Democratic base. There's no question about that. And I think Booker's moves tonight are representative of the fact that there's a vacuum at the top of the Democratic Party. There's no leader. The only leader that really exists is Jasmine Crockett. She's the one you see on TV most often. Booker's trying to, fill some of that vacuum. I'm puzzled by his language, though. What is the crisis? You have a president of the United States that won the national popular vote and a landslide in the Electoral College. He is sitting, according to CBS News as of yesterday, at a 50% approval rating. What is the crisis? I mean, he's effectively executing on the policy agenda that he ran on, and he's sitting at about 50%, which is far higher than the last president. If this is a crisis, what was the Joe Biden term? A mega crisis? I don't know.
I think the crisis is that we're seeing people deported without due process. We're seeing the very fundamental aspects of our democracy at question. That's what people are scared about. And so they want to see. I think the one thing you and I can agree on, Scott, right now is the Democrats aren't doing what they need to do. Can we agree on that? Well,
I don't know.
I think we can all agree on that.
Let me put it this way.
You raise a good question because I think, and look, my party's gone through this. You lose, and then everybody wants you to do something, right? What are we going to do? Sometimes there's not much to do until you get to the next election. That's the next great opportunity.
It's telling how liberals will act like there's a national crisis whenever Doge or ICE don't bat 1,000, but don't seem to care one iota over the underlying issues related to those cases in the first place. I mean, for them, it's fine if the government is riddled with fraud and inefficient spending that borders on money laundering, if it's all in the name of something they support. Just like it's apparently fine when a flood of illegals cause violence and overburden public systems and resources intended for citizens, because in the left's view, that's an exception and not the rule, and the benefits of political virtue signaling, manipulating the census, and cheap exploitative labor outweighs all of the negatives associated with that.
Isn't this exactly what we denounce other countries for doing? Not giving our own citizens, when they get wrongfully detained around the world, our own citizens the due process that they deserve?
Well, I think multiple things could be true. Number one, I delineate between American citizens and everyone else. If you're a U.S. citizen, I put you in a different category.
On due process, that's not a distinction that the law makes,
Then if you've come here and broken our laws and committed violent acts or murdered and raped and whatever, I put you in a different category.
When it comes to the law and due process, that is not a distinction.
Well, if you'd like to argue that Trinidad or Aragua should have the same rights that you get as an American citizen, go ahead.
I don't change the Constitution. Hold on a second. The argument is
you're saying that a terrorist can walk across the border and become effectively a U.S. citizen?
That's not what I'm saying.
Hold on. Scott, look at me. Okay.
Yeah, let's give the host
you and I are talking.
Respect.
You and I are talking.
Respect.
Okay. What I'm saying to you is that the law does not make a distinction between U.S. citizens and everybody else when it comes to being accused of crimes. Are you saying that should not be in place? That if you happen to not be a citizen, you get to be thrown into a jail with no process at all?
I'm saying that these people are effectively terrorists. They walked across our borders illegally.
Okay.
They are violent, and I don't really want them here.
But doesn't the government have to prove that they are who they say they are?
Correct.
That's all
we're saying.
That's all. I mean, you can say it
eventually.
It's not a concession that you like Trinidad and Aragua. It's just a question of the basics of civics in this country.
I think eventually the government will have to show all of its cards on everybody that they have detained, deported, or done anything to in this arena. But there is no doubt there is no doubt that the Trump administration is rounding up effectively terrorists who came across here illegally, committed horrific acts, and do not need to be in this country.
They are doing that, perhaps, but they're also doing a lot of other things, too. And that's why the courts are asking questions about it.
You've absolutely got to love how Phillips smugly attacks Jennings for getting distracted by a panel of shrieking liberals brought on to specifically antagonize him, but doesn't blame any of them for butting into their conversation, as if it's Jennings' fault for responding to them while Phillips was being condescending and talking to him like a 5-year-old. And let's not forget how ridiculous it is to see them try to add context to an argument by saying that their opposition to the deportations doesn't mean that they like criminals or support the terrorists being deported, when guilt by association is the primary tactic of their party. I mean, they used it to vilify people like Jimmy Fallon, who apparently committed the heinous crime of humanizing Trump by interviewing him and tousling his hair, and they used it to push the tired "find people on both sides" hoax, which some of them still adamantly believe, even though it's been thoroughly debunked. But let me know what you think. Is it a constitutional crisis to want to deport violent illegal criminals? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Bye!